back to another episode of JR Takes. Ryan and I have been a little out of the game for a little bit, but we're back better than ever today and ready to talk some football and maybe even some Mariner baseball. Talk about how shitty those Mariners have been all their disappointing summer. And yeah, we got a Seahawks preseason game on Saturday. Pretty excited about that. Ryan, any thoughts on our upcoming game?
Yeah, so it's been, like 2 months since we've done one of these, and I mean, I know we said we were going to do a bunch of off-season shows. Didn't happen, but I kind of feel like the first big move the Seahawks have even made since our last episode was like 2 days ago with the signing of Connor Williams. And he's not someone that's going to be playing in this upcoming game, so not really an answer to your question. But definitely really excited about that signing because I think the interior O-line was like a big weak point still on this roster, and It's a lot better now. We'll get into that more later. But for this game coming up, I guess one of the key things I'm looking to watch, because I don't expect the starters, especially on offense, to play all that much. But it seems like we got a little bit of a battle brewing for the number 3 running back spot on this roster right now.
Is that so?
Yeah, so apparently Kenny McIntosh has been getting a little upstaged by UDFA named George Halani, I think his name is. Might be pronouncing that wrong, but yeah, all the way back in like mini camps, I've been seeing little reports about that guy, and it reminds me of like when Thomas Rawls was kind of lighting it up in camp. So
I'd be kind of bummed to not see Kenny McIntosh and what he can do, because we didn't even get to see anything of him last year.
I know. We didn't even get a preseason game with him, but we will. I think we'll get a ton of both of those guys this whole preseason. So that's kind of the main thing I'm watching for on offense.
I hear that a lot of the starters are going to play on defense tomorrow to start off the game.
I've heard that as well.
I'm looking forward to seeing Byron Murphy. That's
the big boy.
Obviously, that's our biggest offseason acquisition as far as the rookies go. But yeah, seeing what he can do as far as stopping the run, something that ate us alive last year and even the year before that. Pretty excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, you throw him in with Leonard Williams and Draymond Jones when he gets healthy. Jerron Reed is still on this team. Mike Morris, who we drafted last year, never really got to see.
Is that the Michigan guy?
Yeah, so he's been coached by Mike McDonald before. So I know I'm forgetting a few as well, but there's a lot of like depth on this D line now, which is kind of cool because 2 years ago I feel like we had like one of the worst D lines in the league. So it's going to be interesting to see that and the new linebacking core. Not sure Jerome Baker's going to play, the guy slated to start at middle linebacker, because he's a little banged up right now. But the number one thing I'm looking for on defense is what is going to happen with this secondary, because we have a lot of guys right now that are apparently lighting it up back there.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of good things about Reek.
Yeah, he's apparently, taking a sophomore slump to heart and worked on some things. Trey Brown is pissing everybody off and starting fights, which I think is a good thing. I mean, we're people that had our young adulthood in the Legion of Boom years, and there was crazy fights every summer. So
I do worry about DK being involved in those fights because, I mean, let's be honest, he needs to work on his controlling his emotions. But I agree. I think it's good for the team's cohesion, I guess, developing early, and I guess showing signs that, hey, we're all trying to compete, and we're all we all want to win our matchups. So
yeah, I don't think football is a sport where you're gonna do very well with a bunch of nice guys, to be honest. So for me, as far as the DK thing goes, as long as he's like batting around 500 with the penalty thing, whether it be like him goading guys into getting a penalty versus him getting one. It sucks when he does it, but when he goads a defender into doing it, it's pretty fucking funny. And it's like cool to watch it help our team. So
I mean, I'm not saying there haven't been times where I think rarely do I think it's the right thing to do, but like last year, for example, the whole Fred Warner hitting him in the back, or I can't really remember the exact situation, but I remember seeing Fred Warner do something, and then I was like, that was a cheap shot. And then DK retaliated, and everyone looked at DK like he was the culprit.
Yeah.
So there are times when I think, that aggression is a good thing, but for the most part, when it is hurting the team penalty-wise, for, like you said, if it's over 500, I mean, even that's pretty steep, but he's just got to clean it up.
Agreed, but I've heard he's really, really putting in work this offseason. And I've also heard that Geno has been lighting it up, which is great news to all us Geno enjoyers out there.
We'll see. I'm not really buying the whole Sam Howell's the Grand Canyon away from Geno as far as the quarterback competition goes.
Well, we're going to get to see a whole lot of them tomorrow. I don't think Geno's going to play a single snap. So he's probably, I would guess we get a whole half, maybe more, of Sam Howell, because think of the guy behind him, PJ Walker. He's already played like a ton of NFL
Forgot
football.
He was on our team.
Yeah.
And we don't know. I don't know. Do you think Mike McDonald is going to have 3 quarterbacks?
I would guess that PJ Walker is our practice squad quarterback going into the season. But the thing is, because he's actually, I mean, we played it. He almost beat us at home with the Browns last year. So he's a pretty good backup quarterback. I feel like if they try to do that, there's a good chance. Because, on your practice squad, any team can just sign someone off your practice squad, like, whenever. There's nothing you can do about it. So, but there's really, I mean, if you already have Howell behind Geno, like, it's not like there's a ton of risk in just throwing him on the practice squad for emergencies. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of moves they make roster-wise, because as we haven't really even alluded to, but a good reminder, we have a whole new guy at the helm now in Mike McDonald, and we don't know if he's going to carry Pete's philosophy of needing like 46 running backs on the team and stuff like that. So we'll see. But I would be willing to bet that it's just Geno and Sam on the roster come September.
Yeah, I mean, PJ Walker, he definitely has upside there. I mean, I think he's kind of a very similar prospect in Sam Howell. They both have NFL experience. They both shown signs of you can be a starter in this league.
They got big arms too. PJ Walker threw like a almost 70-yard touchdown when he was on the Panthers a couple of years ago.
I think against the Falcons.
Yeah, it was like the last play of the game.
Yeah.
Or the fourth quarter to win it overtime or whatever. But yeah, that was one of the longest throws I've ever seen completed in an NFL game. So definitely both got the arm strength, no question about that.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of good things about Charles Cross too.
Same.
in training camp, and that's a bit of a relief because I kind of felt like, I mean, he didn't have a down year last year, but it wasn't like eye-popping that he took the next step in his sophomore year. So
he also got injured like immediately too.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I feel like last season just right off the bat against the Rams,
Week
like
1, yeah.
That kind of ended our whole season. Even though they went 9-8, like losing your 2 top tackles, how do you even proceed after
Well,
that?
it was kind of weird too, because remember we had like a pretty good stretch there where our line was like turning into our strength, even though it was just a bunch of non-starters back there. But then it kind of came to roost, so to speak, and we sucked after like week 6.
Yeah, I just think of that Bengals game where Trey Hendrickson, just like wherever he lined up, like pancaked whatever lineman was trying to block him and killed Geno. Like that. That's the game that sticks out to me, is when I knew like, okay, this little Cinderella story with this makeshift line is not going to do great against some of these other teams.
Yeah, but I don't know. On Saturday we're playing the Titans, right? Chargers. Yeah. Weird preseason schedule. Chargers, that's to be expected. But
yeah, but then,
Titans and the Browns.
I guess, I mean, I think of I know this is very autistic of me to remember, but Russell Wilson's first preseason game was against the Titans. So we play them.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
We play them here and there in the preseason, but the Browns, I don't think I've ever seen us play a preseason game against the Browns. That's an odd one.
Yeah. I mean, also Cleveland is pretty far.
Yeah.
And I mean, so is Tennessee, I guess. They're both on the East Coast. But I was just kind of surprised to not see the typical like SoCal teams and West Coast teams.
Yeah, normally it's like Broncos, Raiders, Chargers. It's like our old AFC division.
Yeah.
Every preseason.
Yeah, but I guess kicking it into high gear, we got the newly acquired center we didn't get him from the Dolphins, but that was the last team he played for. what is your, I guess, stance on this signing? And I mean, I know you kind of brushed up on it a little earlier, but I'm pretty stoked with seeing what is this, 6-year veteran?
Something like that, 5 or 6 years. I think he's actually only 2 years older than Oluwatimi, interestingly enough. But Olu was a pretty old rookie. He's a lot better than Olu. He's actually was a top 10 pass blocking center everywhere he's been. And it's a pretty good chance that this is our best center since Max Unger, honestly. Like, if you think about it, think of the guys we've been just throwing in there at center. Joey Hunt started a playoff game for us. Drew Nowak. Who was the guy that... he's on the Browns now. I can't even remember. We've just had a revolving door at that position, and all those guys have been pretty bad. So the fact that we have someone that was like a top like echelon player at the position could be a game changer. The big question mark is, can he stay healthy, just because last year he got hurt. But his career prior to that injury was a pretty clean bill of health. So
right. Well, speaking of staying healthy, have we heard much about Abe Lucas and as far as his progression on his knee getting back up to speed?
So, good news, I've seen videos of him deadlifting like 1 billion pounds when I was like, oh, he must be getting healthy. But then in an interview, Mike McDonald last week was like, yeah, we would have hoped he was a little further along at this point. So I have a feeling he's on a one-way ticket to the PUP list.
Yeah, that's not good. I mean, it was
But
always...
we signed George Fant. I think he is a capable right tackle. He's not as good as Abe Lucas, but he's way better than... I don't even remember the guy we had playing there, Stone Forsythe.
Yeah, he certainly left the Seahawks in my good graces, because I remember when the Jets signed him, I was like, damn, we lost a very capable lineman there, a guy that can fill in when needed. And borderline, I mean, the Jets signed him to be a starter. So,
yeah, he was a starter for them.
Yeah.
It was also always hilarious lining him up at tight end, because he would occasionally run routes. And
didn't he used to play tight end?
I think he did in college.
Yeah.
Because he was like a college basketball player, too. He's a very athletic, big guy.
Right.
But, that's one thing I like about our line this season is I don't know how much better they're going to be, but the depth is a lot better from the guys we've drafted and the moves we've made. There's less, like, UDFA type talent coming in if someone does go down.
Speaking of line, I'm really excited for the D-line now that we're getting all of our guys back and healthy. Like Uchenna Nwosu, he was like a much bigger of a key piece than I had originally anticipated, and then he went down, and then like the season was over basically.
I remember saying, I think, was it the Giants or someone? I don't remember who we played, but he went down, and I was like, oh man, I hope this doesn't kill our run defense, because he's like a really good run defending edge, and it just did, because everyone behind him couldn't really do it. The only other guy who can defend the run at the edge position on our roster last year is like Mafe. I have heard Derek Hall looks like a new guy this offseason, which is very encouraging to hear, because I'm hoping he has the same kind of path that Boye had, where not a whole lot his first season, then comes out firing year 2, because we need it. I mean, this edge room is kind of like wide open, in my opinion, for who's the number 3 guy.
I also heard Derek Hall got sent home from practice the other day because of being in the scuffle.
Yeah,
so,
I think he was fighting our rookie Christian Haynes. I think they both got sent home.
Is that the guy that said he likes to move people?
Yeah.
Well, good. That's a good thing then, because that probably means he pissed him off. And,
Yeah.
I want him to do that to other teams and evoke penalties.
Yeah, I see the fights as an absolute win, honestly, as long as it's not getting over the top, which it sounds like they shut it down right before it was about to.
Yeah, well, it seemed like Derek Hall was just like a ghost last year. So even hearing like he got sent home from practice, like that's not like the best thing to hear, but it's good to hear that he's out there and doing stuff, because he wasn't doing anything last year.
There's no such thing as bad publicity, as they say.
Yeah.
The worst thing you could do is be an LJ Collier and just be like, are you even on the team?
Yeah, he had no publicity. He had less publicity than Malik McDowell.
Yeah. I'm not sure which one was worse, though.
Probably a Malik McDowell.
Yeah, at least LJ had that tackle on Cam Newton, I guess. So what else do we got going on back there? We got Quandre and Jamal both signing with the Titans, who we played next week, which is interesting because we actually have a joint practice coming up with them next week. So we'll have DK running reps against those guys.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm a Titans fan, I don't know how much I'm thrilled about signing borderline our worst secondary player last year and then a guy that's 31 playing safety.
I think Quandre's maybe got one more good year left in him, but he's never been a great tackler, and he seemed to be getting worse as the season was going on last year. Jamal, I mean, it's just the same thing. If he's healthy, like, he might be electric back there, but if he's not, you're just like, get this guy off the field. Like, I heard we were trying to sign him as a linebacker, and he refused to do it.
I'm so glad we didn't do that.
It's
time for him to go.
I'd rather have him playing linebacker than covering Deebo Samuel. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I just didn't like the locker room cancer aspect of him. He just seemed like not a good guy you want in your locker room, in my opinion, from the outsider's perspective.
I just thought it was a really bad look with the whole yikes saga.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm referring to. Like, to me, it was a very shallow thing to being a witness to, and I'm just, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Kind of an attitude towards it.
Well, good on them for getting another NFL paycheck. Jealous of that for sure. But yeah, I'm glad that we kind of went cheaper and younger at that position because we were paying like the highest rate in the league for okay safety play for like 3 years. So I'm very, as you were saying, very happy to be moving on from that.
Well, and I think safety, in my opinion, I personally feel like, I mean, I guess the Legion of Boom would say otherwise, but I personally feel like safety is maybe the least important position on the defensive side of the ball. So when we're paying like the most for that position last year and the year prior, it had to take a toll on the productivity of the other positions. And I'm just kind of glad we're going younger and this offseason, it kind of seemed like our focal point was our D-line and adding bodies and sustaining bodies and re-signing Leonard Williams. And we re-signed Draymond, did we?
We restructured his deal.
We restructured, right.
So I believe he has 2 years left on his deal after this one, but we basically moved money from this year into next year so we would be able to sign a Connor Williams.
Gotcha.
Which makes me feel like they're definitely not doing that thing where it's like, oh, it's our coach's first year. Let's just, give him a year to build the culture and not go for it. It seems like they're going for it with that move because it's unlikely that they'll be able to re-sign Connor Williams after this season. He's on a 1-year, $3 million guaranteed deal. This is a center that could command $10+ million were there no health questions. So I think if he plays for us and does good, there's a good chance that we won't be able to afford him next year. So I feel good about the odds to be better than last year because they're making moves accordingly. I mean, look at the defensive line, as you're saying. Re-sign Leonard Williams, great move. Got Byron Murphy, a top 10 talent in this draft at 16, I believe was the pick. They're really just loading up at the marquee positions on both sides of the line. Have one of the best receiving cores in the league, I would say. And this cornerback room, I mean, you got Devin Witherspoon and Tariq Woolen, two guys that are Pro Bowl talents already and young. Trey Brown is killing it in camp. We have Mike Jackson, who's started like 30 games for us and done pretty good when he's been in there. Then we got our two rookies, Pritchett and can't remember the other one. Do you remember?
Artie Burns.
He's not.
DJ James.
DJ James, yes. And then you have Artie Burns behind all those guys. Those are all the rookies are rookies. We don't really know what we have in them yet, but Artie Burns has started like 30 games in this league as well.
I like Artie. I've always kind of liked Artie.
Anytime he's been in, he's been good. So this is a really, really good secondary. It's not, at the highest level like it was in the LB years, and I think people need to just get that thought out of their mind. You're never finding a Cam Chancellor again. You're never finding an Earl Thomas again or a Richard Sherman. So just like
maybe not all at the same time.
no, well, just like the uniqueness of those three guys is like.
Well, also
it's
you
like a
just
Brian
can't.
Urlacher
You
type.
Can't really play football like that anymore.
No,
too.
it's a different game. But that doesn't mean that Devin Witherspoon looks like he has an amount of talent that's comparable to those guys, but it's in a different body, different like skill set.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're. It's just time to build a new legacy. Is I guess what I'm getting at with that position group, and we have the guys to do something interesting this year. I'm not going to say special yet because we haven't done anything yet, but I really like kind of from top to bottom everyone we have in that secondary. The safeties, Julian Love and Rayshon Jenkins, both like C+ type starters in the league. But if you have a good defensive line and great corners and nickel corners, you don't need your safeties to be superheroes. They just got to do their job, because it seems like the main chess piece on this defense is going to be Devin Witherspoon.
Yeah, this is kind of a little unrelated, but I did want to say this earlier. I'm a little curious to see how our offense is going to operate with Ryan Grubb being paired with Mike McDonald, because last season the Ravens, they were good because of their run game.
Yeah.
And you saw when they lost to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship, they didn't run the ball. And so I kind of feel like going into this year, I'm curious as to how often we are going to play to the Ravens style of offense, or if we're going to play to the Huskies style of offense, which is doing a lot of motion plays and a lot of, passing attacks involving sending players into motion before the ball is snapped.
So I think the bottom line is Mike McDonald's philosophy and style comes from the Harbaugh tree, and John and Jim both love to run the ball. So I think we're going to run the ball a fair amount. It's also, we play in the Northwest. It's really rainy up here. I think it's kind of key to be good at running the ball, especially in the winter months.
Well, I mainly say that just because we all thought that was Pete's philosophy, and he just ignored it for it seemed like pretty much the whole time Shane Waldron was here.
Oh, yeah. I feel like Shane Waldron had good plays, but no ability to adapt to the flow of a game.
I agree with that.
Grubb, I know they were pretty dynamic, lots of motion, and they threw the ball at a pretty high clip. And I expect we'll probably be like a 55-45 pass run split. I think we'll throw it more than we run it because it's 2024 NFL. But I think as we get into the colder months, you're going to see a lot of the Sharb come out to play. And I think you'll have Kenneth kind of move into the lineup when we're getting closer to the red zone. So he might kind of be like a who's the guy on the Lions last year that stole all the touchdown from Gibbs?
David Montgomery.
Yeah. We could have a similar thing happen this year with Walker stealing all of Charbonnet's touchdowns.
Which is kind of surprising to me. I figured it would be the other way around because Zach Charbonnet is big like David Montgomery, and Jahmyr Gibbs is kind of shifty like Kenneth Walker.
Well, I think, Kenneth is a threat to score anytime he has the ball, but I think in the structure of what the line sets up, Charbonnet is actually a better running back. Like if you combined those two guys into one player, because Kenneth is as explosive and as shifty as anybody in the league right now. Like I feel good about saying that, but sometimes he just misses the hole, and sometimes he just bounces a perfectly blocked lineman out for no reason. But Charbonnet has not a whole lot of explosiveness, but always takes what's there. So if you could just kind of combine them, you'd have a Hall of Fame player right there. But I think it's going to be more of a 1-2 punch this year. I think Kenneth will definitely get more touches, but I think a lot of times when you're just trying to grind a game away, you're going to just want your 3 to 5 yards out of Sharb, just, blasting the middle linebacker. But we'll see. I could be totally wrong about that. That's just a prediction of mine.
Yeah, I've been pretty high on Zach Charbonnet going into this year because, I really liked what I saw from him last year as far as, the leading with your shoulder, running into people, and like throwing people out of the club, so to speak. That I forget who said that.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Was it Dave
either.
Wyman? I don't remember.
It might have been.
It was good though. It was a good description of.
It is what he did too. But I've heard we haven't talked about this guy at all. JSN apparently is having a very strong camp, and he may be Tyler might be passing the torch to him this year. I think we might see Tyler go down to third in targets by season's end.
Yeah, I kind of expected that. I mean, he has taken good care of his body as far as like falling down, not getting hit over the middle and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, Tyler Lockett is getting up there. I know he's been very vocal about his real estate life post the NFL once he retires. So yeah, I think those days are probably coming sooner than we would all hope. But I think it's in good hands. I think JSN is going to take that next step. And don't forget about Jake Bobo. We still got
made
Bobo
a crazy
back there.
catch the other day. I don't know if you saw that. I believe it was over Trey Brown, but he like made a diving toe tapping catch down the sideline that took I think he's about 6'4" or something. Took every inch of his wingspan to get this thing, and I think Ian Rappaport was at that practice, and he said, watching it live, I thought there was no way he was going to get to that ball, but here we are. And I just thought that was pretty cool that Ian Rappaport's tweeting about Jake Bobo.
Yeah, along with Bobo, I'm also pretty excited to see what A.J. Barner can do, because from the first, I want to bring championships to Seattle little soundbite interview we heard from him, it kind of seems like he has that swag about him. And I feel like we've got another Will Dissly, but maybe, he was on the championship, he was on the Natty team, so maybe we'll see an elite blocking tight end here in the next upcoming years for our offense.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic, and it's definitely needed. Staying at that position group, I am really excited about Noah Fant this year. I think they re-signed him for a reason, or picked up his fifth-year option, whatever they did. Can't remember. And
God, sorry to interrupt you. He's the only Bronco left, isn't he?
From that trade? I think he is. Yeah, Shelby Harris definitely a goner. But he is clearly top dog this year. There's not a Colby Parkinson. There's not a Will Dissly, that trio thing we were doing. So I think he's going to command. He might get 500-600 yards this season is my prediction.
Well, and remember we were talking about it all last year, how we weren't utilizing the tight ends or play action, and that was something we always thrived at.
And I feel like Noah Fant, every time we did anything with him last year, he was awesome. But it was one or two times a game he would get a target.
Right.
So I'm looking for them to make amends with him and get him the ball more. And then, have Barner out there on obvious running situations, because he was the best run blocker in the draft, apparently.
How long do you think you're going to watch the preseason game for? You think you're going to watch the whole game? Or you think you're going to get bored by the third quarter with 7 minutes left?
Wait, during the early 2010s, first few years with Pete Carroll, I'd watch the whole games because we were clearly so much better than everyone we were playing. It was fun to watch our fourth stringers. So unless I get that kind of feeling, I'll probably check out by I'll probably make it through the third quarter.
Was it last year when we lost to the Bears? We got
that was
blown
2 years
out?
ago.
Okay, yeah,
and
that was brutal.
I paid money to go to that game.
You paid money to go to a preseason game?
I did.
Didn't you, Colby? Didn't you go to that game?
I don't remember.
I thought you did, because you guys made the plans to go at our house.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, and I remember you were like, I don't want to go to that fucking game. That sounds so boring. And then we lost 33-3. And I remember during that game...
How much did we pay?
I think it was $80, wasn't it?
Oh, there's no way it was that much.
I remember you guys telling me that and being like, that's way too expensive for that.
I was hoping it was $30, but... It's hard to remember.
I'll have to look at the bank statements.
Yeah. I think I'd rather just have my own headcanon say it's $30. So I'm going to go with that.
I'm determined to prove you wrong, right?
that's
cool.
weird.
They're wearing the throwbacks.
Yeah, so one slight change that McDonald has made is all game jerseys during practice. It's home, away, and throwbacks. Pete always had specific practice jerseys with the quarterbacks wearing the reds. Just kind of an interesting mixing up of tradition, I think. And
this is just highlights from August 7th, so 2 days ago.
Yeah, those weird little helmet hats they have.
That's pretty cool. I did like the practice jerseys, though. I thought they were kind of cool. Like, I would want one if I was like, I mean, I want one, but like, I always thought that they were kind of cool just because they were different and they looked very like traditional. But I mean, that's not I'm not about to like go on the Richard Sherman podcast and say that this is an insult to all the Seahawks before him. But
such a crazy take.
Yeah, speaking of that real quick, he like lost his shit over them taking down pictures. All they were doing were putting up TVs to like have a rotating display of pictures. Like that's all still up there. He just is still so butthurt about being cut, and I love Richard Sherman, but if I was under no threat of violence, I'd tell him this. Like, dude, get over it, man. Like, it was 6 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know. He definitely carries grudges. I mean, like that's the definition, I think, of, well, not the definition, but a big part of his character.
The chip on his shoulder thing.
Yeah, he can't get over things and has to prove people wrong, and that's why he went on the Brock and Salk show and like looked like an asshole.
Excuse you from the interview.
We're gonna excuse you from the interview.
That's not really the way it works, sure.
My name's on there.
Yeah, he was like, doesn't really work that way, Sherm. This is a show that has my name on it.
It kind of does, though.
Yeah, like if I secretly had really bad blood with you, I'd get on your podcast and I was like, Jonah, you can leave.
Just weird. But yeah, I guess on the Chargers side, I don't expect to see any of those starters out there.
Easton Stick. That's what we're going to be watching.
Stick. We are going to see Jimothy Harbaugh trotting around on the sideline for the first time in what feels like a decade. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. That's like, well, unfortunately I have to work on Saturday, but hopefully I'll get off in time to catch like the second half of the game because it's at 4, which is stupid.
I think it's 4:30, so that kind of helps you a little bit, maybe.
Yeah. I missed the 7 o'clock preseason games. Those are always fun because, like, it's just kind of fun seeing an NFL game on at 7.
Yeah, I never make it to the end of those, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure we'll be... Oh, my God.
That's scary.
Wait, look at we had a server error.
Oh, God, he's right behind me.
I can see why.
Dude, get him out of here. No, get them out of here.
I've been secretly putting it on once in a while.
I wonder if Tom Brady like has seen this and thinks it's hilarious.
it's like,
why do they look like they're on like 17 different drugs? Like what the fuck were they doing? The title is just Tom Brady and Tony Dungy. That's all you have to say about it? No, this is horrifying.
I also secretly have this one
out. I'm really glad we don't have to see Russell Wilson in a Broncos jersey anymore. It was not a good aesthetic. He looked so much cooler.
Good,
I want him to do good because I'm sick of these 14-year-olds being like, Justin Fields is going to be Russell Wilson for the job. Justin Fields sucks.
Yeah, Justin Fields is awful. And I don't know. Russ, I think his good days are behind him, but I don't know. I don't really know. This is a 50-50. It could...
Well, I feel like Wilson can still do a few things very well. I feel like Justin Fields can run and sometimes make a good throw, but he can't.
You want to split this Subway sandwich? It is my signature sandwich. It's called the Danger Witch.
All right, maybe Justin's winning the job,
good.
actually.
This is like...
Wait.
Be careful, though. It's spicy. You ever done anything dangerous?
That he sounds like he's like talking to someone he tied up and is about to torture.
They're
He's like, you ever have the danger witch? And they're like,
That would actually be a funny video if you like did the other side of like.
yeah, we should do that.
It's like in a locker room. Like it's a green screen.
someone's tied up to railroad tracks. Ever had danger witch?
All right. Well, I think we're deteriorating pretty fast here, but yeah, we'll have a recap next week as well as the preview for the Titans game.
Before we go though, and move forward to football season, we do have to address a very up and down, woe is me Mariners season.
Oh, I was hoping we could just ignore them.
Well, I'd been ignoring them pretty much all season.
Sorry. It's okay. They don't see it right now.
Yeah, they can see it. Put it up there.
Yeah, get him up there. This is our tribute to Tom Brady for not playing anymore.
Yeah. But, yeah, the Mariners have been awful, and they're almost squandering one of the best historical pitching seasons that a team has ever had. I mean, earlier on in the year, I think they were, like, there was a stretch where they had...
Sorry, just keep going.
I can't now. I'm, like, hypnotized in their fucked up drug eyes.
Okay, there you go.
They had a stretch where what was going on, Jonah?
They just had, like, I think one of the best ERAs from starting pitching, and they had a stretch where they were just doing quality start after quality start, which I believe just warrants 6 innings of less than 3 innings given up. I mean, 3 innings, 3 runs given up, or 2 runs. I can't remember the exact stat line, but they're well on their way to making it all for nothing. And Julio has been terrible and injured. JP's been terrible and injured. And it's kind of been hard. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it because I've been, like, avoiding watching the games because they've just pissed me off so much.
Yeah, it's been miserable anytime I've turned a Mariners game on. I mean, I usually have just been forced to watch them whenever it's on a TV, but I was looking it up earlier today because I was curious. They have by far the fewest runs given up in the league, but they've scored the 3rd fewest, including teams that have like 28 wins right now in August.
You mean the Chicago White Sox who lost over 20 games in a row?
They're like not that far behind us in runs scored.
I'm aware. And
yeah, what happened to the Julios?
They're still up in.
I
still have an unopened box in my closet.
I remember they were literally just Fruit Loops, but they were pretty good.
They were just Fruit Loops, but they replaced the toucan with that.
It was just really sugary cereal.
Yeah. And definitely something he has never put into his body.
Yeah, his like trainer would be like, "You're not eating this."
Yeah, he probably took like 1 bite for the commercial and then had to go like run.
They got his stomach pumped.
I don't know. They might have because they had like a whole aisle of them at Fred Meyer.
Really, like, if they did discontinue, that means they were only out for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And if he does become a Hall of Famer, just keep that cereal box. It'd be so funny.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Yeah, get him to sign it.
Yeah, actually, one
Yeah.
day.
Will you sign my Julios?
He would be like.
He'd be like, I forgot about these.
He'd be like, I'm kind of creeped out by you, actually. I'm gonna hit you with the bat.
But yeah, hopefully they can figure their shit out because I kind of feel like, I mean, they had like a 10-game lead on the Astros, and now we are behind them. So
It's like completely tied right now, right?
We have 1 more win than them and 1 more loss than them.
Oh.
So it's like kind of the same, but we played 2 more games than them. So
I see. Yeah, I mean, that's the story. Like, they've been so horrible, but they're still basically tied for the division lead. So it's like they could win it all this season or like not even make the playoffs.
pretty much the same deal as last year because the 84-win team went to the World Series.
Wow.
The Diamondbacks. And
That's crazy.
And we won more games than them last year. I think we won 85.
Yeah.
So it's either That's what I feel about us, is we're either going to go deep in the playoffs because we have really good pitching and it's hard to hit in October because it's cold out, or we're just not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they just need one guy to fucking find their swing, man. Like, really, that's
And
the
it's
difference.
Julio, but he's hurt right now, so
Yikes.
we'll see.
Well, here's hoping to better days for the old boys in blue.
Yeah. I don't really have too much to add on this episode. I mean, I know we weren't around for 2 months, but there also hasn't been really a whole lot going on other than this. So.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the biggest story of the offseason, even though this was like 2 years ago.
This was like 5 years ago, I feel like.
That's about it from me. Hopefully, I don't really care about predicting the final score. It's preseason, but I guess I hope we win.
I'm going to say it's going to be something like
17-13, something like that.
I'm going to say there's a lot of points scored.
Really?
Yeah, I'm
For a
going to say
preseason game
yeah,
one?
I'm going to say the defenses look terrible on both sides of the ball.
Interesting.
But that's after our starters come out. And then our backups just suck. I'm going to say 27-20. We win, but there's not a whole lot of scoring in the second half, so that's when we leave.
Okay. Yeah, it
We're the
looks like
Russell Wilson
Russell Wilson is
sandwich.
like our king. All right, well, that's basically all I got for this one. We'll catch you on the next one.
Yep. Catch you on the flippity flip.
He's not going to be featured.
We are going to have to hear him, though, coming up.
He's
gonna be like,
I want to play football. I want to win again. I'm Tom Brady.
all right. See you later, guys.
Yeah, bye.